My name is Keith. I'm not sure how to proceed with this, but in my life I've saved the lives of at least 6 people by chance, obeying the law of humanity. When law of humanity speaks when you're given an opportunity to help somebody, you either do it or you don't do it. If you don't do it, you have to live with the consequences of your inaction for the rest of your life, which is a hard thing to do. But fortunately, apparently, I was given the right stuff to be able to make the right decisions and only afterwards think of what a stupid thing I had done by risking my life. First indication, when I was in my 22, I was delivering milk into a liquor store, and the windows imploded into an apartment above the liquor store. And I ran upstairs, and the people were all crowded in the hallway, and the landlady said, "Somebody's locked himself inside the door because I can't open it with my pass key." And I said, "Stand back, I'm going to break the door down," because they're all crowded around. They had no room, just like in the movies. I broke the door down, this huge blast of hot air. I created a backdraft. There was a guy right inside the door. I took one step inside, grabbed him by his belt and his shirt collar, tossed him into the hallway as I dived on top of him. As I started to spontaneously combust myself, holy cow, catching on fire. All your sinus cavities drain, every bit of liquid in your head drains out instantly. The hair on your head starts to catch fire, your arm hair starts to catch fire, and there it was. I obeyed the law of humanity. And just as the fire engines rolled up, this was on 23rd Street in San Francisco, in a building which has since been torn down. I'm 71. I've never told this story to anybody in the past. I thought, gee whiz. So, and the reason I'm telling it now is not for notoriety of any kind. I'm telling it because the law of humanity is very powerful, and I apparently have obeyed it on a number of occasions. We either do what we were told to do in that moment, or we don't do it. We have to live with the consequences of our inaction for the rest of our life. Next time I was in a bar in Los Gatos having some drinks during the daytime because I suffered from panic disorder. It was a horrible thing. I used alcohol to control it, and I was in this bar, and all of a sudden these 5 bikers decided to stomp a guy to death in front of me. I couldn't believe it. They were putting the boots to him, they were kicking him, they were stomping on top of his body and head, and I couldn't watch it. It was horrible. So once again, the law of humanity speaks to me, and I realize that if I don't stop this, I have to live with the consequences of not doing anything for the rest of my life. Now, being really strong, since I was a kid, I used to arm wrestle grown men when I was 12 that my dad brought home from the machine shop. I was beating grown men when I was 12. I wrestled in the world's championships for many years. So what I did was, I looked at them, and I was standing right to the side of them, and one step to my left, I was technically behind them. So I grabbed 4 guys, one at a time, and threw them headfirst into a wall, directly behind them. In less than 4 seconds, knocked them out. The 5th guy was so busy stomping the guy, he never looked up until he saw all his buddies were gone, and he ran for it. So that was number 2. And holy cow, I thought, my God, if I could have been killed, what was I thinking? They could have stomped me to death. But sometimes the law of karma, whatever, is on your side, and you get a lucky break. But I did what I had. I couldn't live with not doing anything. Could you imagine that? Watching a guy getting stomped to death. And I was delivering milk, still on that first milkman gig when I was in the liquor store pulling the guy out of a burning room. I was on Haight Street, right in 1968, the height of the love generation, and I came out of a liquor store. Once again, I delivered milk to a lot of liquor stores. There was a guy right on the corner. They had a guy bent over the back of the hood of a car, and he had this huge leather belt with it, like a 4-inch square belt buckle. He was beating him to death with it. And the guy was bleeding. He was a mess. I was wearing my white milkman's uniform. I thought, oh, how appropriate. So I ran up to the guy. I grabbed him by the back of his shirt. I bent him backwards over the hood of the car. I said, why don't you pick on somebody your own size? Keep in mind, like I was like just over 6 feet, 230 plus pounds, really strong. You know, I was significant. And at that moment, the crowd, there were about 100 people watching, they decided that ruined their fun. They decided, well, if the guy couldn't finish beating this guy with his belt buckle, they'd get me. They chased me back to my milk truck. I jumped in the back of the truck. And in the back of the truck, we had these 3/8-inch metal rods for pulling loaded wire cases of milk around the back of it. Worked for Christopher Dairy, no longer in business. I jumped in the back, and they're all clamoring to get in because they wanted to take me out. I grabbed this 3/8-inch, 6-foot-long steel rod with a J hook on the end of it, and I said, as I walked over the door, okay, who wants to be first? And all of a sudden, they all decided nobody wanted to be first, and they left. Lucky me. And then some years later, when I was a runner, to deal with my panic disorder once again, I ran because I realized I couldn't have a panic attack while I was in oxygen debt. I was running around the polo fields in Golden Gate Park. It's a mile around the outside of the bushes. Just as I'm rounding the first, I'd gone about 3/4 of a mile. I'm rounding this corner, and I see a guy hanging himself in a tree with his belt. He had tied it to a tree branch, stepped off a stump, and there he was. And I thought, oh my God, I could not believe my eyes. Guy hanging himself in a tree. I ran over. I got onto the same stump that he had jumped off of, undid his belt. I was fortunate, I was strong enough to lift him up with one arm, undo his belt with my other hand, because it was just not, it was in a notch. And pulled him down, sat him on a tree that had been cut down from that same stump, sat on there holding his hand, trying to comfort this poor guy who just tried to kill himself. What, oh my God, had he done? And while I'm holding his hand, these people jog by and look down at me holding this guy's hand. And I could see the expression on their face. They were thinking, oh, here we go. 2 more queers in the park. Not having a clue what had just happened. And I was trying to comfort this guy, one human being to another. And we talked for about an hour, and I took him home. He just wrecked his car. He was a drunk, just like I was before I quit drinking 30 years ago. Drunk just like me, and I took him home to his wife and tried to help him. Give him hope, counsel him, whatever you call it, just one human being to the next. That's what human beings are supposed to do. And somehow it seemed to help. I guess that's number 4. The other 2 come to pass when I was drinking in bars, playing pool, liar's ice, whatever. Just trying to keep from dying of a panic attack. Breaking up fights, keeping people from getting done in. But there were well over 6, but there were 6 notable incidences where I stepped up. But I didn't do anything heroic. You hear people all the time doing things that you say, oh wow, that was so heroic. No, it's not. When you obey the law of humanity, when you answer the call, it has nothing to do with being a hero. Nothing like that. It's just being a human being. And the law of humanity can speak to everybody, all of us. If we don't listen to it, it degrades the quality of our life because we know what we could have done and we live with that forever. I have nothing of the sort to live with. Lucky me. I had I can't even take credit for it because I was given that ability, not responsible. It was good that somebody had it, so that's my story. And I thought, I've never even seen anything like this in a movie. So one guy just being in instances time after, and I've had some incidences where I needed the help of people, and you know what happened? Somehow my karma was just there, and people helped me. Accidents, a couple times. People stepped up to just give me tremendous aid and support. Who knew? At any rate, My name is Keith, and that's my story, part of it.